What's good, family? Hope all is well. This is Zachary King from the Future is Female podcast, and I'm here with the beautiful
Akia.
Akia, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well.
Please tell the listening audience a little bit about yourself.
So I am a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for 17 years now. I am becoming a serial entrepreneur. I have an event venue that's located at 40th and Lancaster called Plush Events Venue. Please follow us. And I just launched a second business called Ivy Wellness Infusion Services, which is located in Newark, Delaware. And we do mobile. We do have a concierge service where we do come out to you in your home to give you hydration services. Weight loss, I like to do that more in person, but I am willing to travel. And we also do vitamins through the subcutaneous tissue.
Got you. Is that like an alternative for drinking water? Like, is that what it? Because see, the reason why I ask is because I'm not a water drinker. And I'm pretty certain, like, I mean, don't get it wrong. Like, I consciously drink water now, but that's not my go-to. So, is that something like, can you use like the IV and like a substitute for that, or? It could be.
It could be used for if you feel like you're a little dehydrated. I get people who come to me who may have drank too much with alcohol overnight. And
all my partiers.
I have,
yes,
all of your partiers. So I have
people.
infusions for that if you had too much to drink, and then we can give you some hydration for that. And then it will have different vitamins that you infuse into it. I also have different therapies that are for people who suffer with feeling fatigue, or if you have headaches, if you suffer with any type of inflammation. I have some for beauty infusions, and I also have some for weight loss. So you can also get a skinny infusion that can be infused for you to help promote you lose weight.
Okay.
Of course, we have to do other things with losing weight, with diet, exercise, and stuff like that, but we do offer things to promote that.
Okay. Now, you mentioned something earlier when you talked about how you said you was a nurse for how many years?
17.
And now you becoming a entrepreneur.
Yes.
What happened? What changed?
So in nursing, it has become a burnout for me, for myself.
Okay.
I do love nursing, but there's a lot of things within the health system that has become very stressful, feeling overworked, being short-staffed. There's different things in the industry that I am just worn out,
okay.
if I may say. So I had decided that I wanted to work for myself. The other thing with that is that one day I was feeling like, it's a very underappreciated position to be in sometimes as a registered nurse. And I am making someone else rich by working for them.
Okay.
So I felt like if I poured that same energy into myself, I could do the same with my business. So at one point in 2015, I think I went back for my, I went back for my master's in administration, business administration, with a concentration in healthcare. So I want to be able to use that personally in my own way.
Let's talk about the courage it took to do that. Because I can imagine what it must be like to have a job for 17 years. You still work as a nurse, correct?
I do, yes.
To have a job for 17 years and then get to a space where you say, you know what, I've got to look within right now. Talk about the courage and what it took to get to that space.
So, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot that goes into that, the courage. I think the most that pushes me is me being a single parent and having a child. And so being a single mother, I want to be able to create some generational wealth for my child, and a legacy that he can grow off of and possibly or potentially build with. Okay. And you can't always do that having a job where you're working either 36 hours a week or 40 hours a week, and you're pouring into a 401k. And it's nice to have a retirement, but it's also nice to have something else that you can potentially build and have of your own and become something much more bigger, or come as big as some of these hospitals or corporations that are out here.
Right. With that being said, how was it like, do you have like a social life? Like, are you able to, do you date?
So yes, I do date.
You do date? Okay, so I got to put this out here because we got to talk about it, because there's been a lot of stuff trending in here that talks about how nurses are the worst people to date. Have you heard that before?
So I have heard that before,
Okay.
but I think that that's a myth. So it's all about like work-life balance, right? So you have to try to balance out, you have to try to balance out the things that you have going on in your life. My life right now is very, very busy. So dating is hard. Or I'm not going to say it's hard. It is a challenge. It's some days I work night shifts. So it's some days that you wake up as a night shift nurse and you don't want to talk to anybody. So, you just have to balance it and prioritize it. So if it's
what are some of the challenges you face when it comes to dating? What like, do guys look at you and be like, oh, you a nurse, never mind? Like, oh, I'm cool.
No, actually it's the opposite. I think that a lot of men are intimidated when you are a registered nurse.
Why?
Because so you get a lot of men that say, oh, you a nurse, you making money. That's the wrong thing to say.
That's the wrong thing? All right, hold on. Note to self.
It's the wrong thing to say.
Note to self.
And so, when people hear that you are a registered nurse, because there's so much out here that tells what your salary is and what you may be making,
So you're a target.
Yeah.
You're a target.
Yeah, you know what they call us? They call us a nurse with a purse.
A nurse with a purse.
A nurse with a purse.
That's funny. And then also too, and tell me if I'm being appropriate, pull me back. But I keep hearing about like the nurses got a lot. They're known for like sexual escapades. Like they say some of the, it's like, nurses, y'all pretty known for that.
Well,
like,
we kind of know anatomy a little bit, so I wouldn't disagree with that.
Oh, okay, that's what's up. You know what I'm saying? So it goes down at the nursing station. Okay, you know what I'm saying? No, but and that may be the thing too. Maybe do you think like guys are looking at you like, well, we know they get paid and they are pretty,
No, I don't think that. I think it depends on the mentality of a man, and I think that it depends on the man if he has substance or not. Okay. And so if you have one who doesn't, they probably would look at you in that way. But someone who is bringing something to the table, they wouldn't.
I'm glad you mentioned the table because one of the people that we spoke about before was Kevin Samuels, and you was not a fan.
No, I'm not a fan of him.
Why? What did Kevin Samuels do to piss you off? What was it?
I feel like he has a lot of opinions of women that can kind of come off as a little degrading.
Okay.
He comes off as being a little narcissistic.
Okay.
And also, I don't think he's positive. Like his platform was not positive at all. Women would call in and he just would be negative. If a woman felt as though that she was a 10, not, but you're a 1, you're a 2.
Should he not tell her what she actually is, though? I mean,
that's his opinion.
But okay, yes. But one of the things that he talked about was your marketplace value. Like you individually may be saying, and I'm not talking about you, but I'm saying like I'm gonna keep this on the eye. I might say to myself, I'm the catch, but society might say you're not. Should he not say that? Should he not? Should he not tell women? Because
I don't think that he had enough information to be able to judge that.
Okay. So all right. So do you remember the average at best? Because that's what kind of that was the video that got him popular. The average at best video. It was a woman who she was in a relationship for a couple years. She wanted to get out of the relationship because she felt like she deserved more. And that's when he told her, you're average at best. You better off staying where you at. So you disagree with that? Like you disagree with him saying that to her?
I did not hear the interview to hear what it was that she felt as though that she did have and what she felt like she was bringing to the table and what she had to offer. So I can't comment on that. Okay.
All right, so when we talk about him and his platform, like what you see, I think he was doing a lot of good, but we see them clips out there, but I think those clips was made to kind of help with the division between black men and black women, because if you actually watch the show or seen other things with Kevin Samuels, you see that he was actually making a lot of good points. I just don't feel like, I feel like men are told every day where we rank when it comes to women. We're told that we're not tall enough, we don't make enough money, the house that we live is too small. Like we are told these things every time. Why do it feel like such a double standard for women to be told that you're not as pretty as you might have thought you was, or you got too many kids, or you come with too much baggage? Why is that a hurtful thing?
So I feel that it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Okay.
Right. And so you can have a conversation with someone and you can be real with that person about how you may feel they are or what that situation is. But when you come at a woman and you're attacking her, that's a different conversation. And so I felt like in a lot of his commentary, he was attacking women versus coming at them like more on, you can be straightforward, but he was too, I'm not going to say he was too, no, I'm not going to say he was too straightforward or too direct. I just felt like he was attacking women. And I didn't really, the only thing I can say about him, I never listened to all of his shows.
Right.
What I seen presented on Instagram on some of the clips is what I saw. I never seen one of his interviews from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, I think you got it. I think most women fall in that category.
Right. So what people do is they take clips, and they put them on there, and it gives you this perception of a person. Right. He may have been a good man, and he may have been this good person, and the people who feel as though that he did have a good platform and that he was a positive person, maybe they watched this stuff from the beginning to the end. But there was nothing about his clips that I saw that made me want to go to his YouTube page or whatever page it is that he had to make me want to watch it.
I mean, that's fair. I made a point, and I made this on this platform before that, God forbid this never happened, but if I was in a fire, I don't care about how somebody spoke to me. I would just want to get out. I don't care about the delivery. If somebody told me that $1 million was on the ground and I need to go get it, yell at me. Say whatever you got to say. I think that he was just operating from a place of Black America, Black women. You are on fire. I got to tell you what is going on because I'm trying to help you. I think that was the place that he was coming from. I don't think that he was necessarily trying to tear women down. What's your thoughts?
I disagree.
You disagree?
I do.
Why? I mean, seriously, like if you was driving in the wrong way, like going down the wrong way of the highway, and somebody said, "Hey, pull the hell over," what do you want? You're not going to care about how they spoke to you. You're going to say, "Thank you for." And I'm not saying they should say thank you.
You never forget the way that a person spoke to you or how they treated you.
Okay.
Right? You will never forget that.
Okay.
And so when I saw how it was that he talked to other women, I chose not to follow his platform.
So what about when he was talking to other men?
What about what?
What about did you ever see how he talked to other men?
No.
Yeah, we just I just gotta show you a couple of clips of other, because he wasn't, and the reason why I'm talking to you about him, because I think that is the common sentiments of a lot of Black women. I think a lot of Black women just did not like him because they felt the same way you felt. And they really didn't take the time. And not saying they should, because you're right. If I was watching a platform and the platform was like Black men with glasses, they geeky looking, they this and that, I might not want to listen to it either. You know what I'm saying? So I could understand it, but I do think that it come time that and I'm a strong believer that we in Black America need to have hard conversations. You know, and I believe that there is a silent war between Black men and Black women. Do you agree, or?
I think that I think it depends. Okay. Right. And so I'm not going to say that it's a silent war. It depends on the person. It depends on communication. Okay. Some people are more outspoken than others. Okay. Right. And so, some people can express how it is that they feel about things. Okay. I think that the other part of that is your upbringing. Okay. And so the way you were brought up may be the way that you perceive things, or like the different traumas, I guess. Everybody's talking about trauma now, right? Yeah, the different traumas and stuff that you have dealt with, or the different things that you're trying to work through. Mm-hmm. That's where it becomes to seem like it's a divide. Okay, so what you're saying is that there is, it's because of our traumas and like our childhood outlooks and stuff like that. That's the reason why that we look at things differently. And just
Is that
being
what
a
it
male,
is?
I just feel like males have a different perspective of what women do.
Sometimes, I mean, I just right. Like I just feel like sometimes with men, I'm going to say this from my own personal experience. Sometimes I don't feel like you could win with a woman. Like I just don't feel like there's any win. And I think a lot of men are now have become frustrated with women because of that. I just think that more men have just become to the point where it's like I could set myself on fire and she gonna be mad I ain't disappear. There's nothing I'm going to do to please a woman. Do you think that that's a thing? Do you think that that's real from your perception?
I don't. No,
Okay.
I don't. I think that there are men. So you wouldn't have marriages that last a long period of time if that was the case.
In
right?
2025, you think
Well-
marriages last a long time?
Yes, I do. I do think it's some people who have been married for a long period of time. I know people who have been married for a long time and also a short period of time.
Right.
So it's just dependent upon the relationship.
Okay. I mean, no. I mean, I believe in marriage. You know, I believe in marriage. I also it's like, okay, because where I'm at with it, I believe in marriage, but I don't believe in that you should be signing any financial documentation for it. That's just for me.
What do you mean by that?
I don't feel like though that you should be signing any financial documentation for your marriage. I feel as though that if we met at 18, 19, and we decided to put our finances together and we decided to, buy homes and so forth and so on, it should be split down the middle. But if I meet you at 40 and you have on debt, I got on debt, I don't think that there should be a way that I should be attaching myself to that right there. Personally.
Well,
What is your thoughts?
So my opinion on that is that you should never enter a marriage being in debt. Both parties should be out of debt before going into a marriage.
Okay. So do that lie on the thing of perfect answer in an imperfect world? Because I don't want. So while I would agree with you on,
You may have some debt, of course, but
Right.
to go into a marriage with debt is just something I personally wouldn't do. Like I feel as though that whoever my husband is going to be, both of our credit scores need to be at a certain number, right?
So we need to be financially equally yoked.
We need to. I'm not going to say we have to be financially equally yoked because his income may be more than mine.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that we need to have our credit together going into a marriage. And I also do not want to enter a marriage being in a whole lot of debt
Right.
on my behalf or his behalf.
No, I personally agree. I mean, another thing that I think that we don't talk about, and the reason why I don't want to sign any paperwork, is because we both have kids, right? Most of us have kids. I feel as though that if I was to sign over paperwork and gave a woman, financial permission to use it at her discretion, that could potentially put my daughter at risk. That could potentially put my daughter in a space to where, because people change. The people who you marry is not the person you divorce, And I wouldn't want to be in a situation to where if something was to happen to me, my wife or my ex-wife could say, you know what, I'm going to get his ass back. I'm not going to do X, Y, Z for his daughter now. That happens a lot.
Well, I feel as though that you should have something in place that is just for your child, right?
Okay.
So you would have things that's in place for your children. You would have things that's in place for your wife.
Okay.
And so if you have those things in place, your wife can't touch those things for your children because you already had that set up.
Okay. I mean, I hear it again. That sounds like perfect answers. I mean, one of the ladies that you listen to is the Sprinkle lady, right?
Yes, I love her.
Right. Sprinkle, right?
Sprinkle.
And the deal is with her. She was telling women how to get out of prenuptial agreements. She had a whole and that be the thing that be upsetting me because so many women get in their feelings about Kevin Samuels, but then they'll turn around and listen to this and this lady, and her whole thing was about how to manipulate men and to get them for their resources. It was no love. It was no compatibility. It was all about saying the right thing so you could extract resources from a person. But if that was a man who did that, women will be upset.
So relationships can be a double standard at times.
What?
Right?
No.
Yes, it can be a double standard.
You better stop.
It can be a double standard at times, but I mean, there are some things. I'm not going to say I totally agree with everything she may say, but there are a lot of things that, from a woman's perspective. So again, you have his perspective, which is a man's perspective on some things,
Okay.
and then you have her perspective on certain things when it comes to men. And so with prenuptial agreements, a prenup doesn't necessarily mean that you will get nothing. So you can have a prenup with stipulations.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with having that, especially if you're going into a marriage where you both are coming into a relationship and if you have assets. So there's nothing wrong with having a prenuptial agreement. I wouldn't disagree to have a prenuptial agreement, but we are going to have stipulations inside of that. So
like if
agreement.
You cheat, that's your ass, pretty much. Something like that. I mean, I get it. I get it.
I mean, you can have stipulations on it. It's some celebrities or some people who have stipulations that if you do cheat, that I would get a certain percentage or whatever the case. Because you went outside of that covenant and you decided to step out of the marriage and not work out whatever it is that we had going on. You decided to step out of the marriage. It wasn't me that stepped out of the marriage. Okay. So, it's just like anything you get penalized for, right? So you have to hold yourself accountable for the behavior that you decided to take and do.
Is cheating the worst thing that can happen in a relationship? Like, is cheating a deal breaker in a relationship?
I don't think it's the worst thing that can happen in a relationship. I think that is independent. If a woman, individual, not independent. Individual, if a woman decides to stay with a man because he cheated on her.
Is she stupid?
I'm not going to say that she's stupid. And I would never call another woman stupid for staying with someone who stepped outside of there.
Is she foolish for staying?
Is she what?
Is she foolish? Maybe I was a little rough, but
is she foolish for staying? I'm not necessarily. I mean, it just depends. I mean, I wouldn't accept if you had cheated. If that's what if you decided to step out of the relationship and you cheated, then that's a no for me.
Okay.
Right.
I respect that.
But I don't feel like that's the worst thing that can happen in a relationship.
Right.
It's other things. The person can some kind of way start getting on drugs or, become an alcoholic. They can become abusive. I think abuse is way worse than, somebody stepping out of the marriage and cheating.
Shout out to Stacy from Sister Connections. We had a conversation on verbal abuse and we talked about abuse. So shout out. Again, verbal abuse is just as hard as physical abuse.
Right. Verbal, physical. I
think that, no one should be subjected to that.
Right. To any type of abuse, they should not be.
Any type of abuse. And I would encourage anyone that is going through something like that, man, please get the hell out of there. Like, is seriously, like, you don't deserve that. Nobody deserves that. No man or woman deserve that.
They do not.
Switching gears a little bit, right? Because this is in social media, okay? There's been a lot of things. My algorithm, let's put that out there, everybody, because everybody talk about my algorithm now being so crazy, okay? But in my algorithm, there's been a couple of stories of which a woman, she accused her man, her boyfriend. They was going through a bit of a breakup. She accused her boyfriend of being a pedophile and sending her sending her daughter text messages, like explicit text messages, offering favors. Okay, I'm trying to walk careful due to YouTube guidelines and everything else. It was another video in where a woman. She said she got caught cheating as the ball player. I think his name is Xavier Worthy. She got caught cheating, and she turned and he asked her to leave the home. She destroyed his home, and then she turned around and said that he tried to, basically assault her, and this brother got locked up. Right. My question to you is, as a mother to a son, does that make you nervous when you hear stuff like that?
Absolutely. Whether I had a son or a daughter, I mean, just the thought of it.
And none of the women face charges.
Right.
None of the women, they went and they did these things, and none of them, there was no repercussion for that. And I think sometimes, the reason why I ask this, because I think sometimes when I look on social media, women are so cold when it comes to men. And I got to remind them, you have a son. It's not until, imagine that being your son or that being your brother. That's your father right there. No one shouldn't. I mean, we have seen so many circumstances where women have lied about paternity. Women have lied about being essayed and so many other things. And there's nothing happened. For a mother to a son, how does that make you feel?
So I think that what happens is that women, because they have been through so much, we tend, or I'm not going to say we because I'm not speaking for myself, but
we're talking about collective though, but collectively, I get it. We're not politicians
so
here.
Collectively, I think that there are women that don't consider men feelings because they've been through so much. And the man has done so much to the woman that we don't consider their feelings, right?
Okay.
And so...
but there'll be the same women that will say treat every woman as like different. But they'll treat every man the same.
I just think that it's just...
Is that double standard again?
It's just that, yeah. It's
That's
just
that double standard.
a lot of things are a double standard when it comes to a man and it comes to a woman.
Right.
But having a son and the thought of him having to go through that, you have to, first of all, you have to talk to your children. They have to be careful. Anyone has to be careful about who it is that they date.
Right.
It can happen to a woman. It can happen to a man. There's plenty of men that will try to damage a woman in so many different ways with tearing their house up and stuff. And it's men that will come and they will there's women that will come to a man's house and try to tear a man's house up.
Right.
So it's just all about knowing who it is that you're dating, right? And people have red flags, and we tend to ignore those red flags.
Right.
And so these people that you see on television that are doing these things, from the pedophile to the other person you spoke about who tore the house up, it was many red flags before it got to that point, but they decided to ignore it. And a lot of us do that in relationships. We ignore a lot of red flags.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a little bit of pushback because I'm going to tell you that I don't think that people with good common sense, or we live in a state no more where people see red flags and we completely overlook it like how we once did. I just believe that just like how we evolved, the red flag, so to speak, they evolved as well. They have become more cunning in their approach, because I can tell you as a man, there has been things that I have dealt with women where they have never shown me any of those signs. They have never, and it wasn't until we was in certain situations that I see them now different. It's like, wow. But and that's why I say, like, for me personally, I made a point on this platform of saying that I think people should be together for at least 5 years before they decide to have children. And because, one, we don't need no more in the club babies, okay? We don't need no more her ass was fat babies. She's, a swipe left or right on social media baby. We need some love babies in the black community. We got too many of that stuff. And that's the reason why the black community seem at times so cold and callous, because we are producing no children without any love. But my point is, I feel like if you was together for a certain amount of time, it would give you the opportunity for you to see a person in all their seasons of life. You will see them when they up, you'll see them when they down, you'll see them with the job, maybe without a job, you'll see them, when they was happy, you see them maybe when they experienced a death in the family, like you will see them, and then you could decide if I want to duplicate them or not. But if it's like when you're dealing with people who I met her, a few weeks ago at the bar, and now we decided to have a child, we don't even know each other. And then we expect for something positive to come out of this. It can happen.
Well, I don't know anybody that's trying to have a baby that quickly, like a week or to a month after knowing somebody that they want to have a baby. But I feel like you will never truly know a person, right? Okay. I don't care how many years it is down the line. It's people who have had a child got pregnant by somebody less than 3 months or 3 to 6 months of knowing somebody, and they decided to have a baby, and the father turned out to be a great father. There are people who have been in a 17-year relationship, and then when they broke up, or 15, let's just say 15,
right.
A 15-year relationship, and they broke up, and they decided to not even deal with their child anymore because the mother didn't want to be with them.
I think there are exceptions to every rule. There's exceptions.
So definitely. I feel as though with that, with the statement that you made, that is false. I do feel that it doesn't matter on how long of a length of a time you knew somebody. It shouldn't take you 5 years to know if you want to marry the person. It shouldn't take you 5 years to know if you want to have a child by the person, right? And so I do feel that, people should try to get married before having kids, but that's not the perfect world, right?
The perfect world,
It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen that way. And if you slip up and you have a child, and, it's the repeat of the behavior, having 3, 4, 5, 6 different kids, and you have all these different fathers, right? So, I mean, baby moms, or you have all these different baby fathers, or whatever the case may be. But you do have to be careful who it is. I mean, I can't even say you have to be careful who it is you have in a child, because you can have somebody who was there. Like, for instance, my son's father, he was there for me throughout the pregnancy. But now he doesn't really have like a relationship with his son the way that he should be, the way that he should, you know? So I thought that he would be a good father, but it turned out to be that, you know, I'm not going to bash him and say that he's a bad father, because it's different, it's different reasons. But yeah, it's a lot of room for improvement.
Let me ask you a really hard question. And because I asked, shout out to Coco. We had a like kind of a little bit debative conversation on this. If a father is not good for, you know, like maybe he's not a good father, not talking about yours, but if
or
he's
could
just
be
not
a better
father,
father,
let's just say he's a shitty father. Should he be removed as a father entirely?
So I feel that you can't make someone be the person that you want them to be.
Okay.
I can't make my child's father be the father that I want him to be. But I would not totally remove him from my son's life. That the relationship that he builds with his child is the relationship that he builds. Okay. And so the door will always be open for him to have a better relationship. Okay. And I would never stop that relationship from happening. There are some women who do totally displace the father, like from their life or whatever. I may remove myself from the situation because he's old enough to be able to call his father. He's had an iPad since he was probably about 4 years old or 3 years old. So he can reach out to his dad and he could talk to him, as he does from time to time. So it's up to his father. It's not my child's responsibility to beg for his father to be a father. It's his dad's responsibility to be a father. So when he's ready, or when he grows, because it comes with growth, right? So when you grow to the point where you know that you need to put your differences aside and you want to be a father and you want to step up, then they're going to do that. At least the opportunity is there.
With so many women who do fall into that category of just anger, of feeling like his ass ain't here, he can't be in his kids' lives. And your approach is very much like, I'm just going to just leave the door open. What advice would you give them? Because again, we are about having a hard conversation, but we want to offer some type of solution as well. You know, so what advice would you give a woman that may be going through that exact same thing that you're going through right now?
I mean, just leave the door open. It takes time within yourself to actually get there. I can't say that I was always there. Okay. Like to this point where it doesn't bother me anymore, right? It doesn't bother me at all. And so just leave the door open. Like, don't close that door all the way. And you may hate him. He may get on your nerves, or, you know, you can't. I used to get anxiety when I had to have a conversation with him or talk to him, because you can't this is one person you cannot get rid of. You have no choice but to talk to this person. Right. Versus somebody you may have been dating and it just goes left and you never have to talk to them again. I don't gotta look at your child's father, you have to deal with this person for the rest of your life. I don't care if the child is 18, 21, you still have to see him at some point in time. I would agree. So I had to get past that. It comes with a lot of prayer. It comes with a lot of patience. It comes with you trying to be the bigger person, you being humble. So, you know, it's just self. Work on yourself. If you can work on yourself and you can get past that, then, you know, you'll be a better person. If you can let it just roll off of your shoulders, then you'll be a better person. But leave that door open, because what will happen, and I know this from growing up myself, what will happen is that your child will always wonder what relationship they could have had with their father, right? And never speak bad about them. That child will learn on their own how their father is.
No, I totally agree. I agree with that as well. Like, I know this is a really hard thing to ask of women that are in that situation, but I will also say, like, again, like how you say, like, be neutral. I'm not saying you should tell them that their father's an astronaut or something like that, but don't take opportunities to throw jabs at him, because let him see what his father is. Because, you know, like a lot of boys, especially I see a lot of this with black boys, they're told that their father was a shit. And it's like, how can you instill in them the like positive affirmations when they're told their other half of them ain't nothing? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, ladies, I know you hurting, but I'm gonna need you to hold that one down. I'm gonna need you to bite your tongue a little bit. So I'm grateful that you put that out there.
Yeah, I can honestly say it's easier said than done.
Oh no, for sure.
I can remember my child being at an age, and I probably didn't realize he was standing there and cursed his father out. Right. And so like that does like do some type of damage to the child, because now it's like, because they look at it as though, oh, my mommy hates my dad.
Right.
You know, or you don't like my dad. So when they see that, you have to remember your kids watch everything that you do. So when they see you talking to their father in that way, one, it may reflect their relationships on later with other females, right? And then two, they may look at it as though you're the problem and the dad is not the problem.
Right.
So you have to be very careful and cautious what you do in front of your child and what you say to them about their father.
I wanted to, since we're on the topic of fatherhood and stuff, it's another topic that's on social media. Again, here we go, my algorithm, okay? And I want to get your thoughts on it, okay? Dr. Umar. Okay, his daughter came out and said that, pretty much called him a deadbeat, right? And, you know, it's pretty much saying that you wasn't there for me when none of the important moments of my life. My question is, does that wash away all the good that he have done thus far? Like, do the fact of he's now being considered to be a deadbeat, does that overlook or overshadow everything that he has done?
No, I don't think that it does. No one knows what their situation is besides Dr. Umar and their child's mother. Okay. And so you don't know what it is that their child's mother has been saying to the daughter about him and why he's not there. There may be different reasons why he is not in her life.
Right.
It could be on the negative side where, you know, he just walked away from the situation or whatever the case may be. But the only two people that know what happened is those two people. And he actually said that I will have a conversation with you and your mother. Bring your mom on the phone. Bring your mother.
Put your mother on the phone.
Right. Bring your mother there. So him making that statement, it must be something that transpired for him to walk away from that situation.
I agree. I totally agree.
And so people can look from the outside and say, oh, he's a deadbeat, he's this and that. Sometimes these kids is ungrateful.
That's a fact.
And sometimes these children, they don't know what's going on or what may have really happened. They only care about what the mom is saying, or they only care about what the dad is saying.
I got a homeboy that hated his dad growing up. Like, he absolutely hated it. It was truly on sight if he saw this pop. And it wasn't until he became a father that he had forgiveness in his heart. When he became a father, it was like, oh, okay, I get it now, Dad. That was my bad for being so upset. So I agree with that. The only thing that does a little bit of kind of bothers me a little bit is the fact that she is 22. So she's not necessarily 14. You know, like if she was a teenager, it's like, yeah, her perception is a little bit off, but she is actually a grown woman at this point. So I can assume that she's bright, that she's, you know, gathered some data, but I understand that there is two sides of every story. I personally like Dr. Umar. Some of the things I don't agree with, like the whole, when he say, black men only should date black women. I personally would prefer to be with a black woman, but I just want to be happy. So if that happiness looks like a Becky with the good hair, so be it. I don't give a shit who it offends. I just want to be happy. That's the space that I'm in. My preference, again, will be a black woman. But so that's where we might go a little bit wrong. But I do agree that it should not completely overshadow. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we listen to these fake ass rappers all the time. These rappers that get on here in these studios and talk all this stuff about shooting up people and doing the worst to their own people. They not talk because they be getting jerked out of their record deals. And that be the thing that bothers me. Y'all talk all this stuff about, oh, you gotta get the money and da-da-da-da and robbing your fellow black man. But meanwhile, y'all getting robbed by a small 5'2" Jewish guy. You know what I'm saying? And y'all record deal. Y'all becoming slaves of them. But that's a whole nother conversation. But if they're not gonna stop listening to these guys, why stop listening to Dr. Umar? With that being said, please close this out. Please tell the people where to find us, where to find you, and So you can find me on Instagram at Plush Events Venue, and you can also find me at Ivy Wellness Infusion 24. Good. With that being said, before I go any further, how was your experience here?
Oh, it was great. I was a little bit nervous in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie, and even throughout, but I made it through.
Right. This is
a great platform that you have going on here.
I appreciate it. So that means you will come back?
I will be back.
All right. I thank you so very much. I appreciate your time, your energy, your perspective. I appreciate you. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next episode.
See ya.